We know about dance competitions, swimming competitions, but have you heard of the steak competition? We have one of the winners of one of those competitions here today, and he says there's a science to the sizzle. He is here to spill the secrets to a steak done right. We're talking about award-winning steak master Roger Donohoe. You're here to share the secrets today?
Wonderful. We're excited to show what we do and how it happens.
Yeah, because I've never been to a steak competition. How does that work?
Well, it's great. First of all, there's about 40 or 50 of us in Utah, probably between 3,000 and 4,000 throughout the United States. And we get together in parking lots all over the state, probably about 15 trips, probably 30 competitions a year.
Wow. Throughout
the state of Utah and all over the western United States.
And you're a teacher to boot on the side.
I teach middle school science.
Okay, so let's start this off by talking about how we even pick the right steak, because you're going to share kind of your award-winning recipe with us today. How do we pick one? And
that's important. First of all, I'm going to put on a little glove here so that
safety first.
Absolutely, that's what we do. I have here 2 steaks, and these are both labeled the same. These are certified Angus beef and choice cut.
They look very similar.
They're both called ribeye steaks. But if you look at them a little closer, there's a huge difference between the two. This steak right here is more inferior. Okay, this is what we call the spinalis muscle. This is the most tender, most flavorful part of a steak. And then we have right here the eye. Now this steak was probably taken towards the end of the rib roast, where it turns into the New York cut. Okay, so that's the eye muscle.
So we want a smaller eye.
You want the smaller eye, but what's really important is that you get the largest spinalis or cap that you can. This is an amazing steak right here. I couldn't believe the package that I picked up had 3 of these. This is a third muscle that some of these steaks have. This is called a complexus. This is the cap or the spinalis. And then you can see how much smaller the eye is on this steak compared to this one right here.
It really is a lot about science. And you say after we do that, after we pick our steak, we have to trim it.
Absolutely. So let's start trimming. Now what you trim for at home is going to be a lot different from the way you trim a steak for competition.
Okay.
So
give us the home version.
Yeah, if we're doing it at home, I'm probably not going to do a whole lot to this steak.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take it, I'm going to throw it on the grill. I might take a little bit of this side edge fat off, but at home that's going to be flavor. Okay, and on this one here, we'll look at both sides. This is
where you see a lot of fat, maybe. Just trim a little bit off.
We're going to cut that off right there.
And then a lot of people maybe skip this next step, but you say there's beauty to a marinade.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of things you can do to marinate. For competition, we're going to round this off. For home, we're just going to take the fat off, unless we're feeding it to our mother-in-law or something like that, we'll leave it on. Okay. For the marinades, what we're going to do is once we've got this trimmed up, for competition, we've got pins that will pin it and pin those muscles together, because the ribeye tends to fall apart.
Pin it together.
It'll break right on the fat seams, so we'll pin it together. Sometimes we'll even tie it. So marinades. We've got several that we use in competition. This is a Cosmos, that's very popular. You can get that at Barbecue Pit Stop. A lot of the barbecue stores around the state. Pitmaster Supply in Layton has that in Far West, the Pit Stop. This is an energy drink. That's a Utah brand.
I was going to say, are you marinating in an energy drink?
No, but this keeps me going.
Okay. And so you like various different types of marinades, but you also season.
Right. Okay, in the seasoning part, we'll marinate for about 20 minutes. In the marinade.
Okay, 20.
And if I've got a steak that I feel like is a little tough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some tenderizer in there, and I'll leave that in there for only about the last 15 minutes, and that'll soften that steak up. So the first thing we're going to do, and we got a little wind blowing here, this is my first rub. This is called from a company called Three Little Pigs, and it's Three Little Pigs Memphis style. This has some Worcestershire powder in it, and that's going to bring in an umami flavor to the steak. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to dust it with that, really light. Okay, we're not going to go very heavy at all, just dust it. The second thing I'm going to do is our main rub, Kansas City Championship, and I don't think this one's been opened.
Do you also do just a light sprinkling of that, or a little heavier?
This is our main rub. We're going to go to town on this.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just do it like this. Okay, we're going to make the steak completely opaque.
Oh, cover it completely.
Cover it completely with this Kansas City Championship. Okay.
And are we letting that sit for a bit, or then we just head right to the next thing?
What we're going to do is in the competition, we get our steaks about, 3 hours or so before we're supposed to have them done and turned in. That's why you keep the top on. And so the rubs are going to sit on there for probably about 2 hours.
Oh, wow. So the marinade's quick, and then the seasoning and the rubs are what sit a long time.
And what these rubs are going to do is they're going to pull some of the flavor from the rub into the steak, some of the salts and things, and they're going to really integrate into that steak. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing, they call it a rub. You don't want to rub, I'm just pressing that in.
So after you let that sit for that long, I've heard a lot of people say you got to hurry and do every side quick. What is your rule of thumb?
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take these steaks after they're finished being seasoned and marinated. We'll throw them on the grill, and I get my grill grates really hot. They'll be about between 575 and 625 degrees.
Okay, super hot.
I'll throw that on for a minute and a half, turn it about a quarter of a turn for a minute and a half, flip it over, do the same thing, and then I'll take it off of the heat and finish it off like that.
Talk to me about that finishing off, because it wasn't on the grill very long, and now how do you like to finish it off? Is resting involved?
Okay, what I'll do is I'll finish it off. I use my thermometers. This is ThermoWorks, American Fork Company, and they're popular. Everybody around the country that I've ever seen that is anybody uses ThermoWorks. Okay, so this is ThermoWorks.
I have this at home, so I must be in the club.
ThermoPen, that means you got game. Okay, and this will, I'll temp the steaks with this, and I will pull my steak off at 136 degrees. And then it'll continue cooking for just a few minutes. And what I'm doing is I'm going to rest my steak just out in the open for at least 5 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes. That's important because when that steak heats up, it's going to draw juices in, and if you were to cut it right then, it would just release all those juices, and you're going to have a dry, tough steak. So by resting the steak, it allows the juices to redistribute throughout the steak and keep it moist and make it more tender.
You heard it from the pro. Everyone, we are stealing your tips. Okay, where can people get more information from you if they want to follow you online?
Okay, I have a Facebook page, Poppy on the Patio, P-A-P-I, and that's my grandkids call me Poppy. And I don't have a whole lot on there, but we have a girl in Utah, Hey Grill Hey, Susie Bullock, who is absolutely amazing. Hundreds of recipes, grilling videos, and things like that. Everything I learned came from, well, not everything from her, but that's where I got my start.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Roger.
Okay.
All right, you heard it here. We'll get going on the grill this summer.